right, today we're going to look at inequality word problems. So it's bringing everything together that we've been working on so far within the inequalities unit. What I want you to have with you while we're doing these notes is this cheat sheet that we gave you. One, it's going to help you remembering the different signs, but really what we're going to look at is this chart on the bottom that helps us with those keywords. So first problem, Clark wants to rent a bike to tour Chicago. He decides to rent a bike from Mike's Bike Rental for $15 per hour and wants to spend under $135. So first thing that we're doing, as we always do, we circle our numbers in the problem. We're going to highlight the key words. So one of the key words that we're going to be highlighting has to do with our inequality symbols. So if I look, I see the word under. I'm going to highlight that. Under tells us the less than sign. So I'm going to write the less than sign above it. And then also the word per, if we remember from our equations unit, tells us that it's a multiplication problem. And then the last part, underlining our unknown. The unknown in this problem is the hours. So for defining our variable, h equals the number of hours. Now I'm going to set up my inequalities. So for equations, we always started by just writing the equal sign. For inequalities, we're going to start by writing our inequality sign, which we already identified is the less than symbol. Then we have to think about, is our total $135 that Clark has, or is it $15? In this case, the total amount of money that he has is $135, so our inequality should be less than that amount. Then the last part is taking our other number, 15, and the hours. Think about what operation we identified. It's a multiplication problem. So it's $15 per hour, which means 15 times h, or 15h. Now we have an inequality set up that we need to solve. Make sure this is right, because if this is wrong, everything that follows is going to be wrong. I'm going to draw my line down the inequality symbol. H is being multiplied by 15. The opposite is to divide by 15. Should cancel out on the side with the variable, bring down our h, bring down our inequality symbol, not the equal sign, and then 135 divided by 15 is 9. Since this is a word problem, I'm going to write out our units. H was representing hours, so it's 9 hours. Now we're going to graph. So I'm going to find 9 on our number line, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's right here, right before the 10. I'm going to draw my circle there. Since it's just less than, it stays open. Then the last part, we're looking at what direction we need to shade. So we could use this chart, the less than symbol. Less means left, so we shade to the left. But then I'm also going to look at it as drawing an arrow. It looks like an arrow pointing to the left. So I'm shading to the left. And then the last part, we're looking at what values could be true. So would Clark be able to rent the bike for 10 hours? Well, the hours has to be less than 9. You could ask yourself, is 10 less than 9? No. But you also could look at this on the graph. If you plot 10, that is not included in the graph that we plotted. All right, number 2. Mrs. Carlson is taking an Uber that costs $4 per mile for a ride. She has no more than $50 to spend. So again, first thing we're going to do, circle the numbers in the problem. Second thing we're going to do is highlight those keywords. So first I'm going to look at the words that clue us into the inequality. I see the phrase no more than, and if I look at my chart, no more than is a less than or equal to thing. So I'm going to draw above that the less than or equal to inequality sign. It can't be more than that. We want it to be equal to or less than that. And then the other word that I'm going to highlight is the word per again. $4 per mile tells us it's a multiplication problem. And then last part, we're going to underline our unknown. So in this case, we don't know how many miles she needs to go. So my variable is going to be m equals the number of miles. All right, setting up our inequality, I'm going to start with my inequality symbol, which we already identified as less than or equal to. And then set it less than or equal to the total. Is our total $4 or is it $50? The total amount of money she has is $50, so that's what we're going to set it equal to there. And then the last part, taking our other number 4, $4 per mile means 4 times the number of miles, or 4m. Now we've got our inequality that we can solve. Draw my line down the inequality sign. On the side with the variable, it's being multiplied by 4, so the opposite is to divide each side by 4. It cancels out on the side with the variable. Bring down our inequality symbol of less than or equal to, and then 50 divided by 4 is 12.5. And we're talking about miles. All right, for graphing, 12.5 is in between 12 and 13, so we have 10, 11, 12. So right in between those two tick marks, I'm going to draw my circle. Since there's the line under the inequality, that's the equal to part, we have to shade it in. And then we're looking at what direction we need to shade. Well, this is less than or equal to, which less means left, but also as long as our variable's on the left, it looks like an inequality pointing in the direction we need to shade, which in this case is pointing to the left. Then I'm going to plug in the value. Would Mrs. Carlson be able to go 16 miles in the Uber? So 2 ways you can do this. You can think about, is 16 less than or equal to 12.5? No. Or if you marked 16 on your number line, it is not included in the graph. So no, she would not. All right, last problem before the you try. Mrs. Humboldt needs to beat at least 1,032 levels of Candy Crush to catch up to Mrs. Baker. She plans to beat 24 levels per week. So first thing we're going to do, circle our numbers, highlight the keywords. So the word that tells me the inequality, at least, if I look at my chart, at least tells me that it's a greater than or equal to problem. So I'm going to write that above here. And then the keyword that tells us the operation, per. Per, again, tells us it's a multiplication problem. Then the last part, underlining our unknown. In this case, we don't know how many weeks. So W equals the number of weeks. So writing our inequalities, starting with the inequality symbol that we identified as greater than or equal to. The total amount that she needs isn't 24, it's 1,032. And then the last part, taking our other number, 24 levels per week, 24 times the number of weeks is 24W. Draw our line down the inequality symbol. W is being multiplied by 24. The opposite is to divide by 24. Cancels out on the side with the variable. Bring down our inequality symbol. 1,032 divided by 24 is 43, and we're talking about weeks. So find 43 on our number line, 40, 41, 42, 43. Draw our circle. It has the equal to part, so it should be shaded in. Then, since our variable's on the left, it looks like an inequality symbol pointing in the direction we need to shade, which is to the right. Plus, greater than is getting bigger. It should be, the values are getting bigger to the right. And last part, would Mrs. Humboldt catch up to Mrs. Baker if she played for 49 weeks? Well, again, 2 ways you can think about this. You could mark 49 on your number line. Is it included in the graph? Yes. And you can also think, if you plug in 49 for W, is 49 greater than 43? Yes, that is true. So the last part here, the you try, Comcast charges $6 for each movie ordered. At most, Mike wants to spend $78 on movies this month. Go ahead and try that one on your own and get it checked by the teacher.